Okay, fantastic. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Pete Marsh. I'm one of the co-hosts, co-leads of the Electrification Action Team for CCL, coming to you this week from Seattle. We've brought our three granddaughters to visit their great-grandparents. So uh, it's been an adventurous travel day, but going well. Anyway, Mark Friedman and Jay Bassett are two of the other co-leads on the team. So we've got a good group here. And thanks everyone for joining. This is the fifth workshop in a series of six workshops that the electrification team has been putting on over the last 2 months. And the last one will be a week from today. The focus on this whole series has been uh, outreach and engagement and coalition building in your local community or state for electrification policy. And we've gone through a whole variety of topics, how to build coalitions, how to engage with school districts, the resource toolkit that we've put together. And uh, last time, which was 3 weeks ago, we had a special guest speaker in from Georgia Tech, Ruthie Yao, and she walked us through a process of using what her group calls structured facilitation method, and they use literally a really excellent facilitation technique to help quickly brainstorm and prioritize and organize initiatives and ideas that a group might want to work on. And tonight's is a really logical follow on to that. Today and tonight, what we're going to talk about is a technique called power mapping, and that's in use by a lot of different nonprofits and advocacy groups around the country and around the world to help figure out once you've done a technique like Ruthie's, where you've figured out, okay, what does our coalition have as its goal? Then you can use this power mapping technique to help identify the community leaders that you need to engage in order to achieve your goal. And so we'll be following on, we'll set up a little breakout scenario where we'll practice some of that hands-on. But in a moment, I'll start the screen share and we'll walk through a quick overview of power mapping. Um, and I'll try to be wrapped up with the power mapping and the hands-on exercise by 35 or 40 minutes past the hour. And we'll have a short time for Q&A. But I want to take the last 10, maybe even 15 minutes of the meeting and talk about what's coming up. August is going to be Electrification Month for all of CCL. And we just learned this pretty recently. Tony Cerna uh, sort of sprang the idea on the rest of the staff just over a month ago. And the staff is all pretty excited about it. Brett and Dana and Flannery have all been working on what does that mean. And so we're going to make that a big focus of the month of July for this action team, is to help get ready for Electrification Month. So we'll talk about that towards the end of the call. With that, I will go ahead and start the meeting. Or start the screen share rather. Okay, so you should have a engagement, outreach, and coalition building for electrification. Can I get a thumbs up? All right, I got a couple of thumbs up. Thank you very much. And so what we're going to talk about is this technique called power mapping, as I said, and then the sneak peek. So I've already gone through the agenda. And here's a short and sweet description of everything that is power mapping. And I chose the definition from the Union of Concerned Scientists. On the next slide, I'll show you half a dozen different groups that have slight variations on the technique, but it's really pretty common. So it's a visual exercise, which means sticky notes on a whiteboard generally, that helps you identify the levers and relationships to this is their wording, and it's slightly uncomfortable to me. Gain access to and influence over your target. Um, and I guess, in some ways, this is not dissimilar from a coordinated marketing campaign or sales campaign by any business, right? What's our target market? How do we reach them? So that's what we're trying to do in the world of advocacy, is say, what are who is the decision maker or handful of decision makers that we're trying to reach, and how do we contact them? So it's the same basic thing. Uh, we want to identify who it is, maybe the single most important person that can single-handedly make a decision or can influence a decision of a larger group. We want to figure out, okay, what's it going to take to make them say yes? And then how do we get access to them? So I told you that there were half a dozen. I guess I fibbed. I see 8 bullets on this slide of different groups with variations on the technique. As I mentioned, I chose to use the one from Unit of Concerned Scientists simply because it's an organization I respect, and I thought their layout and description was pretty logical. So here's the step-by-step approach to the whole thing. Um, it's basically a 6-step process. You find the right target, you think about what are the resources they control or the decisions they can make. Um, and it should be someone who can give you the change you want or influence it. Frequently, decisions like these are not unilateral decisions by a single individual, but you need to influence a city council or something like that. Once you've picked out who you need to go and engage with to try to get the decision you want, you've got to do some research and figure out, okay, what's this person's priorities, philosophy, that kind of thing. Then, and perhaps one of the single most important things on this is, whereas if this was a business doing a marketing campaign, they would be thinking, okay, we want to reach 20 to 29-year-old young adults of a certain geographic background or whatever, and they would think about what media or social media might be the best way to reach them. In this case, we're trying to identify an individual, maybe in our own town or city or community, and we're going to try to figure out, okay, who are the people or groups that know this decision maker? Then you're going to decide how to approach them, when and how to try to meet with them, either, just asking for a meeting or sort of preparing by attending other meetings you think they'll be at and listening, understanding what they think about, and maybe interacting informally. And then also, it's important to recognize who else might not be a fan of our idea and what's the opposition going to be. So that's the overall step, or the overall approach. What I've got for the next handful of slides is a real world example of the first time I used this technique 5 or 6 years ago. A local climate action group in far northern California in Shasta County was trying to get the city council to adopt this climate plea that I'm displaying on the right-hand side. And this literally, um, it's not important for you all to read all of the words on this, but I think it is worthy to note that this small group of us, we were able to get boiled down to what we wanted different levels of government to do, all in this essentially 3 or 4 paragraphs, at the city, county, state, and national level. What are the 2 or 3 bullets that we would like our city council to advocate for? And so our goal was to convince the city council, which in that city was 5 people, to pass a resolution. And after passing the resolution, go ahead and implement city ordinances. And we decided as target, we wanted all 5 city council members most likely, but we also recognized all you really have to have is 3 to get a 3-to-2 majority. and which ones. And um, we also recognized it was going to be important to engage some of the senior staff in the city and county supervisors and staff, because there was a close relationship there between city and county. So that's the real world example. And this is, whoops, I clicked ahead too fast. This is a group of us uh, in a room at, this was a local church, and you can see the whiteboard or yeah, there's a paper taped up on a wall with just dozens and dozens and hundreds of sticky notes all over it, like any good brainstorming session, right? So um, I've got a couple of zoom ins. Here's, this is sort of, I mentioned that step 3 is one of the ones I consider most important in this whole thing. And that's once you've decided who you want to approach to make the right decision that you want, this is a whole bunch of sticky notes from everybody participating in your power mapping exercise, almost a focus group type of thing. Um, Everybody's brainstorming. Oh, I think my work colleague so and so knows this person, or my church friend such and such. And you can barely see it, but notice that there's a vertical axis here that's at the top. The people up near the top of the whole thing are regarded as influential, and down at the bottom, not so much. And then over to the right, you can see that we drew an axis for whether or not people would support the policy that we're advocating for. So the right-hand side is support, and then the left-hand side is oppose. That doesn't show up on the chart, the picture here. And so, if I know somebody who knows our decision maker well, that would be, and it has the respect of the decision maker, that person then is likely to be influential. And if they support my policy, then I would put them way out here in the upper right. That's the best kind of person you'd love to identify as a supporter who is respected by the decision maker. And then on the next slide, I zoomed in and you can see after we had listed all the names and everything, we had a short 2-step plan for converting sticky notes into action, uh, which is sorting out the influence flows and writing up a list of actionable tasks. And this is a sort of diagram of that. So, and then this eye test chart, and you will, everybody take off your glasses and read it without your prescription. No, uh, this this is not intended to be something I'm asking you to read, but it's indicative of the list of actionable things that came out of it. We made a spreadsheet that had all these columns and the organizations that people belong to, and web links and contact info, and which member of our group had the relationship. And we mapped out 150 different community leaders from 10 different organizations. And I think this was the boiled down list. There were more notes on the sticky chart. And this is only one way of representing it. I have to confess, I might be a spreadsheet geek, and I might be guilty of influencing the group to do this spreadsheet. But you however you write the results down, you want to come out with an action plan, and this was part of that. So I'm going to pause for a minute, stop sharing, and we'll dive into our hands-on exercise in just a minute. But I wanted to see if people have any questions before we do that. Yeah, hi, Gahendra.
Yeah, thank you, Pete, for this tools, for this methodology. I have 3 questions, actually. One, what are the criteria that we, select our target, the best targets? What are the bases? And two, who are the participants of this workshop? I mean, this selection workshop. And the third is, where does this policy come from that we want to, influence to our target people?
Sure. Okay. Uh, so I'll start with the last one first. Where does this policy come from? Um, this this technique is used by advocacy groups all over the nation and all over the world, and so it's used to help facilitate whatever policy that group is trying to get implemented. So in our case, the example that I'm going to tee up for us in a few minutes is a made up but a realistic topic. Is going to be, we would like to ask a city council of the town that all 11 of us magically live in, you know, Neverland or Tomorrowland or something. We would like to ask the city council to implement a policy that uh, helps actualize electrification for existing houses, not just new construction, but for existing houses, which are the harder part. So the policy is all electric existing house renovations, and the who participates is whoever is a member of the group that you're a part of, or a group of groups, a coalition. It's whoever is on board. So in the example I showed a minute ago, the group was called North State Climate Action, and it was 14 individuals who lived in Redding, Shasta County, California, and we formed a group. We eventually chartered it as a 501c3 corporation, but the formality is not necessary. And we decided we want to start advocating for climate action in this community because it doesn't happen very often. And so that's the who. And then your first question was, what are the criteria for selecting the decision makers we want to influence? And the answer there is uh, you want to select decision makers who have the ability to make the decision all on their own. Ideally, if all you have to do is influence one person, that's the best of all worlds. If it's going to be a group decision, which is by far the most common situation, then you have to influence at least a majority of whatever voting body, and you could pick whoever might be the biggest champion out of that. But in our case, in that one we talked about earlier, there were 5 members on the Reading City Council, and we chose uh, Adam, good old Adam, what's his name? And Julie Winter and Mark, what's his name? And Julie Winter, we felt was the one who would be most uh, amenable to taking climate action. And so we chose to make her our top candidate out of that. Um, so that's, and I think it's important not to set a criteria on accessibility of the decision maker. If you know that there's a decision maker you want to uh, engage with, don't make how hard is it going to be to get a hold of them a part of it. You want to figure out who to talk to and then figure out how to go make it happen. Yeah, Sylvia.
Mhm.
This looks like a terrific system for reaching a political group, a group that is going to make decisions in a political setting. I think I mentioned to you some time ago that that is not our case in Pennsylvania. Our city council cannot decree electrification. So we are more in the realm of persuasion, of bringing people together to do things in separate groups. We can't. So would this work for this more amorphous way of trying to educate people and get them to do things? I'm not sure how it would work.
Yeah. Well, I saw Jay raise his hand. I think he likes that question. So go ahead, Jay. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm glad to be here and be back. Um, so we had this was the Catholic Action Team, just had someone come in to talk about power mapping from that perspective, Sylvia. But it was really around trying to get communities within within dioceses to kind of work together on this as a way of then within different organizations coming together, that then they could do the second round of power mapping, which is what are the maybe other advocacy objectives they want to do. So in one that I'm working with, what we're looking at doing is how do we bring together parishes around how to work with the Keep Georgia Beautiful Foundation, which has inroads into elected decision makers around certain climate policies. And so we're kind of like, we're doing both at the same time. So that's a real life example of something that was done in the last month that we're working on right now. So it can be used. You just have to figure out, who you're trying to influence, whether it's internally, externally, who you're bringing together, and what do you want to bring them together, and then do the linkages. The other thing I would tell you, just me personally, in just using this technique for you personally, that was one of the things when I put solar on my house was to actually bring local and state and community leaders together as part of open houses as a way of influencing them, because 3 weeks later we were going to go talk to our local congressperson around some of the primary asks. And guess who they talked to? Well, that state legislature was a good friend of hers. So we were trying to, it was a different version of power mapping, but you can use these techniques in all different ways, and it could be individual for that matter as well. So a couple of examples, Pete, I thought that might be helpful.
Love it. All right. So thanks. That was very helpful. And Gehendra, thank you for distilling questions down to so crisp. It's fantastic to have that. Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, kind of circling back to both those questions, is this linkage between the structured facilitation, which we did in the last course, which is really kind of going through the process with building the coalition among your group, and determining what it is that coalition wanted to pursue. So that structured facilitation is really the what, and this power mapping is, okay, now we know what we want to do. The power mapping helps you say, how are we actually going to how are we going to do that? What are we going to do to implement that? So it's really that kind of two-step, and I know they're kind of separated in the workshops that we're doing, but they really are very, very linked. And I think that answers a couple of Gehendra's questions also. It's like, what are we targeting? And then, who do we go after to help make that happen?
Beautiful. Love it. Thank you. Okay. Well, good. We're at minute 28. What I'm going to do is dive into a workshop, an exercise here for just a few minutes. And if I had set up a possibility of doing 3 short breakouts, one each for 6 minutes, 4 minutes, and 4. But with the time, I want to, we'll probably skip the second and third session. We'll just focus on this relationship mapping session, power mapping, the core of it, and then we'll come back for Q&A. So And let me check chat first. Meredith Dillon rule states localities can't do much. Yeah, and that understand. And so so my example goal doesn't fit all 50 states, but the approach can be used anywhere, and you would just have to modify the goal, right? So, okay, let me share screen again. And there it is. So this is Jay's slide of, we're not going to try to solve all of the problems in this exercise. It's just a taste for practice. Jay, thank you for that way of describing these. So here we are. We're going to ask, we're going to be pretending to be asking for a new municipal ordinance modeled after reach codes for home renovations by the city of San Mateo. And that policy is sitting right over here. Here in just 3 pages is a short summary from the city of San Mateo about what is building electrification, why is it important, what are reach codes for home renovations, that's the existing built environment, and then what about for new construction. So San Mateo is one of the forward-thinking cities in the nation and in the state of California. And so we're going to pretend that our coalition has already identified the city council member from District 3 of 5 as a person who's likely to be a champion. And so when I was back here, I showed the 6-step process. We're going to pretend that we've already accomplished steps 1 and 2, finding the target and researching them. And we're going to work on step number 3 right here, examining the relationships. So with that, the givens are, it's council member from District 3, and we know that she is a board member on Habitat for Humanity and on the county's Affordable Housing Agency. She volunteers at the local food bank, and she tweets about housing justice and housing access. And so we've decided, yeah, this person is going to be a champion for merging the social justice aspects of getting rid of gas cooking in our apartments because of its housing justice. All right, so here's what we're going to do in the next few minutes. I will set up some breakout groups, and we'll have we'll be talking about a reach code for existing home renovations, and you're all each going to, we're going to make up that everybody lives in the same community and knows somebody. So again, we're pretending that we know the councilwoman from District 3, and you'll be simply making up fake relationships to that person along the lines of what I just did. But think about, who do you know that knows this person well? What alliances do they have? Would we connect through other elected officials, through members of political clubs, through relationships through school, church, business groups, or nonprofits? Those are the types of things. And so each group is going to have, I'm going to put group 1 on this chart. Group 2 will go on a second copy of it, and group 3 will go on a third copy of this chart. And we're going to just fill in some relationship names on these sticky notes, and move the sticky notes around. We're going to say in this case that Fred Flintstone knows our target really well, and Fred Flintstone is likely to be enthusiastic about our building code. So that's what we're going to be doing. So now we should have, I need to jump back in a chat and drop the link. There's the link to this slide deck again, and you're going to want to come to either slide 15 or 16 or 17, depending on whether in your group 1, 2, or 3. So now let me go ahead and do the breakout groups. Okay. I've set up, I just randomly assigned people, and I'm going to open all the rooms, and you should get a notification and have to click something to go to a room. So enjoy.
Can you all hear me? Are we all in group one?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sylvia.
Okay. So I guess we're just we're pretending we're novelists here and creating our cast of characters ourselves. Is that correct, Mark?
Mark, you're muted still.
Yes, that's correct. And I'm on slide 15. So
Okay.
yeah, so just
I also,
make up your story.
Okay.
so
Yes.
if she volunteers at the food bank, maybe she knows the director of the food bank or the manager or something like that.
Right.
Or
Yeah, so
people on the board of the food bank, right?
and make up, maybe someone or make up a name and say, this person knows the director of the food bank, and we can get to her through the director of the food bank.
So maybe I know somebody who's on the board of the food bank,
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
not the manager. So okay, so I'll make one up here.
For some reason, I don't seem to be able to type.
You actually need to go to the Google Doc, which is linked in the chat.
Not the slide deck he shared before.
Slide 15 of that deck, yeah. So
Yeah,
if
I'm on that. I don't know. It's not letting me
Are you?
edit it. I don't know. Let me go
Me neither.
click the second one.
Oh, there it just started.
I'll click the
No.
second one and see what happens. Okay.
No, I can't type in the little square. Oh, you're typing. Okay.
Yeah, I'm typing.
Mhm.
But grab another one. Can you grab one or not?
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
So why don't we dictate them to you and you type them then?
Sure.
Okay, so I know Nancy, who is a board member of the food co-op.
What was the name of the person we're
Nancy.
Nancy?
My good friend Nancy.
Yeah.
Now you got two different things going there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now who's the person we're targeting? What's her name?
The food bank board
No,
member.
the person, I can't remember her
No,
name.
let me see if I got it here.
It just
Just-
says
he
she
didn't give a
volunteers at the
name.
food bank.
Oh, he didn't.
No.
Okay.
He didn't give her a name. He's a bad novelist.
Okay, and so you had Nancy.
On board of food bank.
And so she would be more influential in support or less influential, oppose? What do you think? Where would you place her?
See, that's the thing I don't get. How do we know if, they oppose it or support it until we talk to them?
Right. Unless we
Right.
know them well already and know that.
Well,
they're
I know,
doing-
but I mean, you may not know
That
them
in this-
that well, right?
But
You got to
I'm
work all your connections, and you may not know that exactly.
Right, but I'm assuming that if we can make a case for all electric leading to cost savings, then that people
Right.
who do the food bank would be in favor.
That makes sense. Yes, right. I think you also, you know, at this point, couldn't you put them, if you're not sure, just kind of in the middle? Like,
Yeah,
you know, you'd think they'd be more influential, but you're just not exactly sure where they are.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll put her, well, we got a bunch of blocks in there. I'll put her there.
Yeah, that's what, yeah. I'm just trying to see how this works. Wasn't there something
Okay.
with the county? She does something with the county. I can't
County's
remember.
Affordable Housing Agency. It says she's a board member for Habitat for Humanity and
Okay.
County's Affordable Housing Agency.
All
But
right.
I don't know about anybody who's at the Affordable Housing Agency.
What do you mean?
I'm making this up.
Okay, but I mean, but you know, there's 4 of us in this group, so maybe
Yeah, right.
maybe one of us do.
Right,
Sure.
exactly.
So, I know the director of the Affordable Housing Agency. They live in my neighborhood. And they would definitely be in favor of this.
I know
because
somebody
It will
from my,
help make the housing more affordable, so.
yeah. I know somebody at my church who works with Habitat for Humanity, but she just volunteers there on Fridays. So
But
she
she's-
wouldn't have any influence, but she would be supported. Not a powerful person, is what I'm trying to say. Is that the kind of thing we're supposed to be talking about?
Yeah, that's, I'm adding that right now. Okay,
Yeah, well, I should say in our town, Habitat for Humanity has a store. So I do know people who volunteer to work at the store.
okay, so less influential, but likely to support, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll put it over here.
Oh, Pete says now we should be able to edit and move sticky notes. Okay.
That's what we're doing okay without.
Yeah, we have a secretary.
What about Gahendra? Gahendra, who do you know, or what do you think is a,
I'm really, I don't have any information regarding the town council there.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, you
So
can
how
make it
about-
up.
Do we know anybody who's a contractor who is an electrical contractor who might want to do the work, for example?
Okay, so Gahendra knows an electrical contractor. How about that?
Okay.
And what's the connection with Joey at 350?
I just made that up.
Oh, okay.
That would tie in with housing justice, perhaps.
Yes,
Well, I mean, I understand about 350, but you're just saying, well, that's an organization we could talk to that would support it.
yeah, Joey at
Yeah.
350.
So
might
it doesn't
be
need to be something like
an
with a direct
influencer.
connection to this council member, just
That's a good
us,
point.
an influential person or group that we could use as support.
Yes,
Is that part of this also?
it can be, but you know,
Yeah,
so maybe
okay.
that's it's a good point. So maybe it's less influential if she's not a member of 350. Right? We don't know
But on
that
the
for
oth-
sure.
We haven't talked politics. She must belong to a political party. So who are the political power brokers that we might be able to engage?
Who might be opposed?
Ah,
You know who's gonna probably be opposed are developers, building contractors. Because it's going to cause them to have to raise the prices for the houses? Well, wait, is this just for existing housing or is this for new buildings?
Oh,
I
It's
think
home
this
and
is
it's
renovation.
it's for existing housing.
existing
But-
houses, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, my town is full of, I live in a college town. My town is full of dorms. I would imagine that apartment builders might be opposed
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
Right.
if it affected them.
well, but we're not talking about builders, but maybe just contractors doing renovation, right? It's gonna be
No, I
more
meant
costly.
apartment owners. Sorry, I misspoke. Apartment owners who, if they were included in this legislation, they would not want to do.
Yeah,
any-
and they would be included, right? Because it's supposed to be, the San Mateo thing is like, it's a code, yeah,
Yeah. So they would definitely be opposed.
right.
And that's an important force in our town because there's so many of them.
Yeah, that's a good one. And that may be more influential, right? Particularly if it's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
heavy apartment town.
Mm.
But in opposition, yeah.
Another one that would,
Yeah,
There, thanks, Mark, for restarting that. Okay, so quick thoughts and impressions from that workshop. What did people think?
I think it could definitely be
Okay.
useful in more of a group, but also just as a mental exercise for kind of gauging a room internally. I would use it.
Yeah, my sense is it's, sort of one of the many good tools that a facilitator can do to help a group sort of efficiently and equitably talk things through and get some topics out and understand them and prioritize them. It's one of those good tools. I took a peek at all the whiteboards and I liked group 3. There were 100% supportive or neutral, no opposition there. So you all are our optimistic crowd. All right. So I think we're at minute 47 right now. What I'd love to do is pivot the conversation right now and talk a little bit about what's coming up for Electrification Month. And I'll go ahead and share screen again for that, at least just for a few minutes. Yeah. So there we are. You should see August is Electrification Month, and it's loading, at least on my end. There we go, finally. So I mentioned Tony Cerna, who many folks probably know. Tony has moved on from CCL just a couple of weeks ago. He has this crazy idea that there's some important election later this year, and he's going to go do some work on that. So, but he teed up the month of August being CCL's entire national focus for August. And he's already kicked things off, and we co-leads have had a little bit of meeting, but mostly Tony with the other staff. But Brett Cease is on board, Dana Nuccitelli, Flannery Winchester from marketing and communications. So the ideas include all of the things listed on this slide. Tabling materials, sort of bread and butter, right? But and so there's already a handout that National has prepared, and of course, any good handout nowadays has a QR code on it to take you to the website, whichever one you want to go to. But I don't know if folks have seen, I think it's in the group leaders forum, so not everybody has access, but there's some discussion in CCL community of all electric dollhouses, which I'm just going to jump over to that one real quick because it's so much fun. So, but the idea is instead of using just brochureware or, handouts and flyers, why not use three-dimensional, tangible artifacts to help with our tabling. So this is Fairfax County, not far from Nate, who's in Richmond, but you can see a small dollhouse over here, and you can see this spin the wheel of fortune. This is like electrification trivia or renewable energy trivia. Here's a different dollhouse. This one is from New River, Virginia. I wrote down several different chapters, but New Jersey and Massachusetts have all tried this. And then here's the one my granddaughters helped me make. This one that's in the background. We just, instead of buying a new plastic thing off of Amazon, we got some old cardboard boxes and put granddaughter art into it. And so, that's a way to emphasize reuse as well.
We have one there's one in my garage right now that's one of our members made too. So
love it. And it's, it's a neat way, and you can put props in each room. You can barely see it, but just above my cursor here, there's a tiny little, it was a jewelry box, and I wrapped it in white paper, and then the kids drew on it to make it look like a stove. And this stuff doesn't have to be super highly technical. And Olivia here is one that helped. But the display board behind Olivia, notice it looks like those 4x4 display boards that the kids use for science projects. And you could put 16 sheets of letter size paper on it, 4 high and 4 wide. And I made one that was similar, but it doesn't have the folding parts, because we found that in the slightest breeze, those become very difficult to use. So we found some rigid cardboard, made it 1 row narrower. So it's 3 columns wide and 5 rows high. But we had a bunch of stuff about electrification on there. And so CCL National is going to try to come up with something that nationally that can be used as a display board as well. They're also going to do, CCL likes to encourage us all to have conversations. And this month, it's going to be conversations about electrification. They have not yet finalized the sort of 1 or 2 sentence ask that CCLers should kind of think, and there may be a variety of those, but we can take ideas for that in a minute if you like. Other ideas that we've come up with, Mark suggested this. Why not put our money where our mouth is? Let's walk the walk. So encourage CCL members nationwide to sign up for one of the several different personal electrification planners. Rewiring America has one, et cetera, et cetera. We, the action team, have been collecting best practices, which is descriptions of things that CCL chapters and members are doing around the country. And then there's a bunch of CCLers who have started electrifying their own houses. So we'd love to collect your own stories of how that's going. So I'm going to stop the screen share now, and we can just talk about those things. Oh, good. I see some stuff in chat. Love it. Kids art. Jay said, dollhouses, what? Or were you asking me if I was going to get there? That was beforehand.
I saw it in the thing. I was like, a dollhouse, really? Then you explained
it. Jay's always there to needle me when I need it, which is often. So, let me shut up, and I'd love to hear ideas. Meredith, I see your hand up, but yeah, give us ideas for, either things that you've already done in your own house, if you've electrified anything, or things your chapter has done, or 2 sentence asks. Go ahead, Meredith.
So something that we've been able to do is collaborate with another regional climate action group who have been going to farmers markets and getting people to sign a pledge to plug in. And what is that? You say, well, the next time you have a chance to electrify a machine in your home, get a fossil fuel, you'll pledge to do that. And at the same time, we'll have an invitation to come to a electrification showcase at a homeowner's home where they have done 1 or 2 of those things and can talk about the benefits in a real situation. So they kind of get both invited to take the pledge, and this organization will send them a sticker, so it's kind of a little follow-up there, but then also and some guidance on how to do it by having, actually this is over the course of last year, this will be our 4th showcase at a homeowner's home.
And that reminds me of one that I forgot to put on the slide, which is I just dropped into chat, induction meal parties. There's another group in California, the Building Decarbonization Coalition. They will give you a $150 gift card if you say, I'm going to host an induction meal party and invite a few friends and talk about induction cooking. So it's, you know, the new Tupperware party. I love it, with less pressure and more fun and tastiness. Yeah, Dominic?
That's really cool, Pete. Thanks for sharing. I just wanted to share that tomorrow I am getting an induction stove from a gas. So just wanted to share the excitement there. I can't wait.
All right, good deal. We need not just pictures, but videos. I want the play-by-play of the installer. Our induction stove is 2 weeks old today. So
nice.
We're excited. We had been using a portable induction hob sitting on the grill of the gas range for probably 2 years. So, okay, Sylvia.
What we've been using at our table is the handout from CCL with the list of all what you get from the benefits in the IRA. And that's already prepared, that 1-pager. And we added on the back local resources and other resources, including Rewiring America, so people could get to the personal planner, and then a link to our local utility, which offers incentives as well for electrification.
So that was the CCL handout with the IRA and handout from the utility company.
Well, it wasn't from them. We just we took the 1-pager from CCL and then made it a 2-sided, and on the back it has the links to Rewiring America and links to a website on frequently asked questions about heat pumps, and also a link to the benefits that our local electric company gives also for electrification.
Fantastic. I'm gonna ask you for a copy of that, and we'll put that in our best practices folder. And you know, one of the great things is that chapters are already doing so many cool things, and we just all want to expose and advertise the things we're doing. And then plagiarism is the sincerest form of flattery, right? So we'll all copy each other's good ideas. Okay. Well, we're close to the top of the hour, and I'm probably going to wrap right on time instead of frequently we like to go into overtime here, and y'all are welcome to stay, but I've got granddaughters and great grandparents, so I'm going to go jump back into that briar patch. Any other quick ideas or questions before I bail out, at least? Yeah, go ahead. Hey, Sam.
Just a reminder, are you gonna put in the chat the automatic action tracker, or is that too much?
I am not going to try to accomplish that tonight. I will email out to everybody a link, and please add yourselves later. But I forgot to do it at the top of the hour, Sam, and I'll have to do it later. Thanks for the
That's all
reminder,
right.
though. Yeah. And so don't anybody hang up yet. Okay, there's my screenshot is my memory tracker. All right, good. Well, then I'm going to jump off. Feel free to hang out and continue the discussion, but good to see everybody. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Okay,
I
thanks.
gotta
Good to
go.
see you, everybody.
Thanks.
All right.
See you next time.